Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Tonight we're just going to do an evening chat, coffee and chat, and talk about 2017 and kind of give you my reflections on what I've seen. And talk later in the show, talk about what I see upcoming for next year, things that I have going to be working on for this channel for next year as well. Give me a couple seconds to share these links out real quick, and we'll get started. I hope everyone enjoyed their holiday, had a Merry Christmas. Many of us are patiently waiting for this year to be over. I mean, this year has been what a year. That's all I can say. It's been filled with ups and downs, all kinds of stuff. We'll get into some of it. We're not going to cover the whole year. It's just going to pick out a few topics that, like many of you, we'll start with the inauguration in January. That anticipation. What's 2017 going to be like with Trump becoming president, being sworn in, and that's pretty much where the roller coaster this year began. How he was going to make America great again, and watching Make America Great Again movement. I mean, this year's just had a bunch of stuff, and I think as we get into more and more, we've seen that it got into a point where it got too much. There was just so much going on that people started to take a break or getting burned out quick. There was just so much negativity, and there's just as much positivity as there was negativity going on. And like I said, this year was interesting. I don't know what your guys' expectations were for this year. Me, I was kind of on the fence on it. I figured it would be a little upsy downsy, but I didn't expect things to go the way they have progressively went this whole year. I think that's what was interesting. I think for me, the beginning of the year is what stood out the most. It was where we started seeing social engineering at its finest, where we started seeing a lot of these groups, it was the beginning of it, where we started seeing these groups being infiltrated by other groups and other voices that weren't necessarily part of these groups. We see the rise of the alt-right, the right, and as time went on, we've seen it start splintering. And rogue right, and it was a trend that started, to me, it started right there in January, right after the inauguration during the Women's March. We had a bunch of feminists there and stuff. We've seen a male hit a female who was there reporting, and the women all protected the male, which is completely contradictory to what the Women's March stood for and what feminism stood for. It showed a change. It showed a cause losing its voice through infiltration. When I seen that, I'm like, oh, we're in for a wild year. And it was a wild year when it came to that. We started seeing that happen with all groups. Truther community started turning on itself, divisions within the truther community. We can start seeing it in every group. "2017 was also, to me, a year of division. I mean, we've seen it play out during the election season. But, we figured, most of us figured, okay, that'd blow over, and there'd be some unity. People would want to see things great again. But they just kept pushing that. I think what ended up happening, it got to such a head that it was an unstoppable force. They wanted that division. They've been working on it for years, and they finally got it to come to a head. And we started seeing it play out right in the beginning of January. We've seen a more, in my opinion, more radicalized Antifa and other groups spring from it. That all they wanted to do was cause violence, promote violence, incite. And it became a common trend. We've seen the race card being used more and more, to the point it came down to more controversy as the year went on, leading up to a tragic event, which could have been prevented in some cases, as studied the reports. But it was this blame of fascist, Nazism, Marxism. We've seen everything that most of us Americans despise, racism, come to an ugly head. It was the social engineering. We've seen how platforms have started being used and abused, which further caused an agenda to force censorship on more people. Except for the ones that were doing the wrong weren't the ones being censored. The rise of fake news. Which, we look where that kind of started. Many of us kind of stay clear of that PG subject. But yet, we've seen as soon as Trump took office, we started seeing these huge roundups. I mean, last I checked, over 5,000 people just arrested for child pornography, pedophilia, sex trafficking. So maybe there was some good that came out of the PG thing. But it was a rabbit hole that they were going to use against the truther community. And we still seeing it play out. We're still watching them investigate what, for most of us, really understand and researched into it, the phony dossier, Russiagate, or whatever we want to call it, the Russia scandal. That's still taxpayers' money being wasted for what? I haven't seen nothing. Oh, we got 1 and 2 indictments. Oh, for something that didn't even happen. It happened 20 years ago. That was a, wow, $5,000 fine, slap on the wrist. What the hell? Another major turning point. We started seeing a lot of our politicians for what they are, snakes in the grass. I mean, but they were so rattled, they're just putting it all out there, showing them for what they really are. This year was really enlightening for a lot of people, myself included. There was a lot of things that I went back and re-questioned and revisited. And come towards later this year with the net neutrality thing, I've actually revisited that here in the past few weeks. Went back to when it first came up, where I was writing in a magazine, went back and read the articles I had written about it. Because I find it that we need to question everything in our lives. I've learned that over the years. And I don't think I've ever sat back and really questioned why I strongly felt the way I did of being for net neutrality. Until, I started watching things. Well, why is all these major companies all for it? In a sense, in my eyes, these would be the companies and corporations that would not want net neutrality. What's the catch? And it's something I'm still revisiting, still researching in. And some of my views have changed on net neutrality. But we're jumping ahead of the gun here. Like I said, you can pick out so much for 2017. Free speech being hindered, we've seen people being doxxed, trying to scare people from actually going out and speaking. The violence from these protests. And it was one-sided. So where we've seen cops being ordered to stand down. But in the sanctuary cities, it was interesting to watch all this play out. But I think for a lot of people, I think we're getting caught up in the protests and stuff, watching them. I mean, I follow a bunch of streamers. I subscribed to a bunch of channels. And it was a lot going on. I mean, for me, the first part of the year, I said I had started this channel. But I was also doing another channel full time. I mean, in all honesty, this video here will be 244 videos I've done in a year. Time. Yeah, and on top of that, the research I was putting in, things that I was following, I got burnt out by it. Come June, I was burnt out. I was tired of all that negativity in my face. That's what it was. All these protests, this violence. It was always something new every day of the week. A new protest here, in this city. Nobody questioning things either. That was a big enlightenment for me. It's just to see, why aren't people questioning the people they're inviting into these labels, these groups that they're identifying themselves to? I mean, there's people that were getting involved in the alt-right that had ideologies that had nothing to do with the alt-right. Nobody questioned these things. And truthfully, it shattered the alt-right. Excuse me. But nobody questions. Everybody adheres to a label. I mean, most people, just like I've stated throughout the year, make America great again. Great. It's a very powerful tool. It's a very powerful slogan. People are going to get behind it. It's a symbol, becomes a movement. But the pitfalls to that, people get caught up in that movement. Then you get all these various groups that are created, these labels that people are trying to identify with or find something they hear and they think everything's coming from that group is the truth. They've stopped questioning things. People's forgotten their history. I've covered that a little bit this year as well. In a sense, removing our monuments was a big thing because, it's a dark spot in our history. Well, that's Common Core ideology. It's also something that was done during World War II. It's called book burning. And you start removing our history, no matter how ugly it may be. You're missing the key point there. History is meant to be shown so it doesn't be repeated. But they use so much stuff. Defacing monuments, spray painting. I mean, like I said, this year has had so much. I mean, if we could cover every little topic that came up, probably should have started this video 3 days ago. And could have done straight till New Year's, 12 o'clock, start of 2018. We still had stuff to cover. That's how much has went on this year. To me, it's, I like reflecting on things. And as you guys know, I did take a break. I didn't come back till November. I pretty much dropped off the second week of June and stayed away from everything. I needed a time to reflect on everything that I'd taken in, everything that I've seen, question some things, question why certain things made me feel certain ways. Why did this subject actually trigger me? And it was a subject that shouldn't have triggered me because it's not something that I believe in. Then when I started doing the research on it, realizing there was some truth there. Note what I said, there was some truth there. Now I'm not going to talk about the subject because it's irrelevant. Because it was another form of the cause division. I mean, I've seen that for what it was, but there was a part that was like, what? Made me question that. When it comes to the racism thing, racial, and the stuff that they're using to divide us, what I suggest to you guys, get out. Go other places. Don't believe everything you see and hear on the TV, on the internet. Get out, experience, live life, see it for yourself. Go to different places. Guess what, guys? It is not as bad as they tried to say it is. They use it as a fear tactic. They use it as a control tactic. It is social engineering to divide us, keep us pitted against each other. There's bad apples in every group. We've seen things that's happened this year with our police departments and our cops. We've also seen a lot of good things our cops have done. I don't blame the bad apples on the rest. Because 98% of you couldn't walk a day in a cop's shoes. That's fact. We did probably end up in prison because we probably end up killing somebody. Or we realize the stress and stuff that they actually go through. Oh no, I wouldn't want that job. I think they got the worst job ever. But they do it. Unfortunately, it's the bad apples that depict the rest of them. And there's some blame to go there. They should be policing their own. This ain't nothing new, nothing common. We've heard of the corruptions throughout this. I mean, name a year. There's always been something. Name a century. There's always been something. Or a decade, let's not say century. I mean, the 80s were bad. The 90s were bad. The 60s and 50s, it was always there. It's like that in every community, any group. You're going to have your bad apples. And there's a lesson to be learned from this. We should be policing our own communities. We don't need outside interference coming in. We see our bad apples, point them out, kick them out of our communities. Something I learned very quick earlier in the year with a lot of people that were just anti-Trump, anti-this. You couldn't say anything. And I'm talking about people that I've supported their causes. People I've known for years. Then their causes started going left. There's not enough left field to say how far some of their causes have went. and how their ideology and stuff changed when it came to issues like national security, illegal immigrants, you know, putting sanctions on countries to keep them from coming over here. I mean, the one that stood out for me the most, the LBGT community. No, I'm not adding the other terminology for it. It's LBGT. Why in the hell would they be against travel bans? Why would they even argue it? I mean, their ideology to these countries that were listed on these travel bans, they couldn't live in those countries and do what they do and have the freedoms that they have to be what they are, want to be. Because if you weren't even suspected of it, you'd be thrown off a roof or stoned to death or beaten to death or killed in the street for everyone to see. But somehow, because they were anti-Trump, in their mindsets, they changed their own movement to the point they added new letters to it and have a new ideology. They'll go out there and support these banned states, saying that they need to be allowed in here. And you couldn't tell them anything, even showing them evidence. And it's like, okay, I'm not arguing with you guys. You have the right to believe what you want. I don't get it, but I don't have to sit here and see your posts all the time. And every time I post something, you're going to just be negative about it. Something I've learned a long time ago. You remove the negative people in your life. And once I did that, man, things were much better. And I don't mean permanently. And for some of them, it may be permanent. But I'm not going to associate with you. We have nothing to talk about. If it's always going to turn into an argument, you know? You ever need help? I'm there. You know, maybe eventually you'll see things the way I'm seeing, or maybe I'll see things, maybe I was wrong. You know, I'm more than happy to come back, apologize. But I'm not wrong in how I was viewing things, at least in my mindset that as of now, because how do these movements change? How do your ideology change to support a group that would kill you, that would strip all of your rights away? Why would you change your narrative and protect a man who just punched a female reporter? These are the things that spoke out this year. The division, and that's what it was. They stirred so much division. We was already divided, but it just kept going and going. Don't worry, guys. I'm getting to the F and N part, because that's the other thing. Like I said, we watched social engineering play out at its finest. You know, now everything's fake news. Anything we say is subject to scrutiny and censorship. No matter what part of the community you was in, everything's a conspiracy now. Why? Because we don't got time to research, which I think is bullshit, because we all do have time. As much time as most of you guys spend in front of your laptops or on your iPads or iPhones, chatting back and forth, posting on these social media sites, take a couple minutes out of that posting time and do a little research. It don't take long to find out that most of the major news, in fact, all of them, I don't watch any of them, not even Fox News. Everyone has, they all have their own agenda. They all have a label that they adhere to and do not go against it. man, it's become, you'll probably get more news off Saturday Night Live. That's how funny it's become. They've really become an entertainment, a comedy, and it's not that funny. I've seen B-rated parodies that's more funnier than what they are. But that's what it's become. Of course, that's designed. Now, certain people coined it dinosaur media. They are a dinosaur media. They're not even, and the key word there is media. They're media, entertainment. They're not news. I remember back in the day, it wasn't even called entertainment. It was called opinionated. Because it's their opinions. It's not actually facts. They'll use, like I've been saying for the past year, the best lies are one that's told with a little bit of truth, because 90% of people will not question when they hear truth or they know they're hearing truth. So then you can feed them whatever they want. They're not going to question the other. It's an agenda. It's an agenda. It's how they push social engineering. That's how we see things happening the way they are. Well, we have Common Core. Can't blame the youth. We want to. I hear people want to. See people doing it all the time. You can't blame them, nor can you blame their parents. And we all have equal blame to go around on that one too, but then again, no, we don't, because we have no control of what our politicians pass into law. In a sense we do, but we keep voting the same career politicians into office that keep doing the same things, or promise this but completely does something different. Common Core, the removing of history, has led up to the results we're seeing. It was a way to divide the youth from the older generation that still knew their history. It made it easier to manipulate. And there's more to that. I mean, I've covered that as well. Parents are working more. It's no longer one parent working, it takes both. So you have less time with your children, less time to interact, pay attention to what they're learning and studying. That's why I said you can't blame the parents. They're doing everything they can to make sure their kids are clothed, they got medical, food on the table, the bills are being paid so they have a roof over their head. That's social engineering at its finest. These are all the things that you can start seeing that's come out in 2017. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of good that came out of 2017. Now I'm only kind of focusing on the bad as well. Bad right now. I mean, to me, I've seen a lot of good. You know, I see more people doing good acts. I've seen people standing up for things they believe in, honoring what I consider as a black and white constitution. They're out there, not violently, but out there expressing themselves. They fell into an ideology. They fell into a symbol, a label, make America great again. They believe in that. All of us want to believe in that. And they want to see those things. But with all those things, it comes to the point you still have to question even that. What's the agenda? Who's pushing that? What groups are coming out of it and being created? Who are they allowing into these groups? They're all labels. I mean, you guys, we're all taught to be divided from the time we can start learning right and wrong. We're taught politics, left, right, Republican, Democrat. You know, most of us think we have to stay one-sided. That whole thing is an illusion. It's still a division. It causes you to only vote one way. You know, there used to be unions where these unions only voted one way. We see it in our media. You can see it every day. How they are labeled, stay to one label and do not go against that label. That's the reality of things. And people are starting to see that more and more. So in a sense, fake news was a good thing. It made people start questioning things. I mean, I still know people that don't, that believe what they're hearing. Not worth arguing with them about it, you know? Okay. Because until they see it for themselves and realize it, they're not going to change their mind. Nothing you or I can say will ever change their mind. Make a game out of it, find creative ways to introduce certain topics, but don't let it get into an argument. Just drop the seed, plant the seed, and hope the seed sprouts. And they actually, later down the road, remember what something you said and question. That's the danger of question. That's how powerful questioning is. They fear people that question. It is our tool, the ultimate tool that each of you possess. "2017 has shown that the more people that started questioning things, the more stuff we started seeing for what it truly was, an illusion, another way to deceive us, divide us. This year it was also natural disasters left and right. Well, depending on what side of the fence you're on, some of them might not have been natural disasters. I mean, it was natural to a point, but, you know, it's back to what I said. Mother Nature, you can't predict. But I do think it's funny when the West Coast has been dealing with all these fires all year round pretty much. And we know they've had lack of rain, lack of stuff. That's understandable. Fires will happen. And in that type of condition, they are catastrophic to a point. But it's also a natural process of stuff as well because it causes regrowth. You know. But yeah, even I could say some of that was fishy. What I think is even more funny, nobody really questioned the fact that we've had all these fires out in California. Nobody questioned the movie that Hollywood put out this summer. Only the Brave, I think it was what it was called, about the firefighters battling forest fires. Yeah, I did a little research into some of that. I didn't talk about it. But yeah, even some of the images I've seen, it just, wow. I mean, I know fire's really unpredictable. But, it's, I don't know. That's, but that's what they want. They want us to jump on things like that, talk about it, divide us, further divide us, or call us fake news when we talk about things like that. You know, for me, I go where I feel led to talk about it. I seen it, question it. I talked to a few of my friends about it. We pretty much all had the same opinion. Then we've seen these powerful earthquakes, or hurricanes, and earthquakes. It's been a wild year. I mean, I was kind of glad to see fall, winter come along, even though we all know that pretty much well after Charlottesville, that kind of broke the camel's back, which wasn't a good thing on either side, but it kind of put an end to the more violent protests. It woke people up, which, ironically, that's usually what happens in a major event. I mean, I watched somebody that I admired, that I followed for years. I watched his narrative and ideologies change after that, to the point where it's like, it goes back to, gotta put yourself in a person's shoes. And man, as much as I've tried to put myself in his shoes, I can't see how he can even argue his own video that he was filming that day. I mean, he was right there when it happened. He caught it live. First person stream that I was watching, seen it live, right there it happened. Then after that, his whole narrative changed. And then I was just like, look at the movements, Black Lives Matter. Look at some of the protests that's been going on recently with them. You see more white people than black people there. No one questions that. Nobody mentions that. Especially after Charlottesville. I mean, there's a psychological effect there. The truth is, we all know probably what happened in Charlottesville could have been prevented. I mean, it's already been case studies and reports. They failed. They let it ramp up to what it was when it probably never got that. But it was fed. It was fed through people not paying attention to who they were letting in their groups, what ideologies were springing forth. There's just certain people, and it was black and white. If you would have just did a little bit of research, what's this person about? You would have seen. It would have been a person you would not want in that group. But they didn't do that. And they slowly infiltrated them to where even the ideologies, all these labels changed. And there was many people pointing these things out. But it was a movement. It was a strong movement. So if you pointed these things out, you were attacking that label. When all you were doing was just questioning it, showing people these things. Let them decide for themselves. This year you couldn't point anything out against any label without being accused of attacking. They didn't want you questioning things and thinking for yourselves. We have terms, identity politics. What is identity? Label. Division. But they don't question that part. We hear other terminologies and stuff come up all year round. It's like, really? Why? Stop. Nobody stopped and questioned. And yes, guys, for me, this year, that's what it was about. Seeing how nobody questioned anything. And those of us were questioning, yeah. When you guys should be questioning everything. Everything you hear, everything you take in, you should be questioning. Everything you think you believe, you should be questioning. Oh, because you get excited today. Oh, these are the things I've been talking about this year. Trying to get you guys to understand you have to question everything. You can't take everything face value. Can't take everything I say at face value. Why? I'm human. I make mistakes. That's why I'm flat out on these things. These are my opinions. These are my views. A lot of it I base off my experiences. I can't experience the things you've experienced. I didn't live your life. I can encourage you to get out, step outside the box, and experience new things. To help you start questioning things. You know, it's something after my little break and I came back, this more my ideology and philosophy. I want to question these things. Now, yes, I enjoyed some of the stuff I was doing early this year. You know, make men great again. But we are great. It doesn't matter what, you know, it goes back to communities. It goes back to speaking your mind. But I also made me see things differently. Because, yes, a lot of our youth is lacking those role models. You know, they're not learning skills and trades like we did. I seen it, and it is an important cause. You know, what does it mean to be a man? Fact is, what does it mean to be a woman? Well, I can't answer that one. I have my ideology what the perfect woman is. One that is questioned, because I also understand, well, what makes men great? Well, men is just are only as great as the woman beside them. For every great king, there was a great queen at his side. You know, history's shown us that. All great men had great women at their side. There's a few that were great that didn't. That's a few. Those are some of the things I touched on. You know, learning how to work on your car. So you're not taking it to the shop or paying somebody else to do it. It's expensive. You're paying, most places you take it to, it's $80 an hour just for the labor, just for the mechanic's labor. That's not including the parts and everything else that goes entitled to it. And also, I started finding myself getting back to more of my things I used to love doing that I haven't done in years. Getting back to working with wood, sandblasting again, working with glass, getting more outdoors, doing things I love doing outdoors, gardening, building things, and, you know, sharing them with you guys. Which I had started that before I took my little break, but those are the things that transpired, you know. Me stepping away from the computer, going out. Yeah, it's still filming and uploading, but sharing things, welding, building things, refurbishing things, and turning them into something else. Which I have more videos coming, because I've got projects coming up that I'm going to be doing. I'm not going to get away from those things. Those things very much are part of this channel, will be. But I started getting away from more of the political stuff, the news stuff, because it's not what I want this channel to be. Yes, there's going to be times where I do talk about those things, especially when I feel it impacts our Constitution, impacts us, we the people, because that's also what this channel is about. It's about we the people. You know, it's about making America great again as well, but as it's supposed to be. It's about making you guys question things, experience new things. This is what 2017 has shown me. It showed me new possibilities for this channel. You know, just like some of the things I did cover that was important that nobody really probably cared for. You know, talking about pre-Obama, 9/11, prisons of people, talking to people that were locked up during 9/11. When it came to that certain keyword. And it showed me and then this year it came to light, just watching these groups like Antifa and other groups, the infiltrations. It showed that from these people that were talking about it, shared their stories with me about it. So I did a video on it. Nobody liked it. Nobody wanted to touch it. But then it started getting some people sending me some other information and stuff that only their local news was picking up. Sealed cases that had become unsealed. To where, the status quo, there is no T word happening in the United States. Come to find out, there was. And quite a little bit, it was just being sealed and covered up. So it didn't go against the status quo. This year also showed the danger of trending. Things that trend. 9 times out of 10 is a distraction for something else. Because your feeds will blow up. People start talking about this one trending thing. That's all you see in their feeds. You got to scroll 5 minutes to find something that's not talking about that subject. And wow, 5 minutes to find a gem that no one's talking about. They're all caught up in the trending. So that little very important snippet that everybody overlooked or couldn't get shared because they couldn't get past the trending. Or it would get censored. I've talked a little bit about that. Even tried to offer a platform. Only one person ever responded back to that United We Stand video series I was doing. Only one person. I didn't follow back up. Because dude was right. He was right. It was a gimmick. No one's going to truly put their differences aside, no matter how much they talked about it. Like I said, a lot of eye-opening things happened this year. I know some people's question, well, why do you follow this person? Why do you follow that person? They bring up a good question, though. Because the things I talk about are different. Doesn't match their narrative. But it goes back to what I've always said. There's truth in everything if you just can sit there and listen and question. Yeah, I don't agree with how certain people do their channels. I think they're just as much as part of the problem and not the solution. But that's how they choose to do it. They have that right. That is their freedom. I have the right not to agree with it. But doesn't mean I'm not going to share their channel. Because those are my views and opinions. A lot of them still bring a lot of truth. And there's a couple. I am going to clean my subscription up a bit next year. Because there's just some people that I can't stand listening to anymore. I see them going down roads that's not what this channel's about. One thing I've tried to stay true to, though, I'm not going to call them out or point them out. There's no reason for it. Because when you start doing that, you start causing drama. And guess what? Now you become part of the problem. Because now you're causing a rift and division. And that's not what this channel's about. We've seen enough of that this year. No, I'm not going to sit here and preach fear every other word out of my mouth. Because that's what they want. In fact, I want the opposite. I don't want you guys to fear anything. Because you shouldn't. When you fear something, or when you use fear as a tool, you're giving people power, and at the same time, you're using it as power to control others. That's something that's very important to understand. Fear is a tool. It's a weapon. Well, I've never liked fear porn. People that use it because it's dangerous. I mean, that's pretty much what giving the arsonist a stick of dynamite, gas, gunpowder, and the matches to light it, and the striker, all in one. Here. That's what fear porn is. How it works. Yes, Tech, even though you're right. Fear is false evidence appearing real. And it's, truthfully, it's the best way to distract people, or it's an emotion as well. People are triggered by fear. They're drawn to it. Everybody's drawn to it, just like everybody's drawn to the unknown. You know, you put a catchy, we call, I mean, it's been called so many things over the years, clickbait, fear porn. I mean, I get into the advertisement jargons for it. It's in your face every day. It's catchy. You know, it's just like you hear the tornado siren. Well, you know what it means. Or you hear the little breaking news SOS thing, type thing, signal. You know it's breaking news before you even see breaking news because you hear it. Or the public broadcasting alert system. You hear it. You know what it is. That's what fear porn is. Causes an instant reaction for you to focus in. Fear is a very powerful weapon. Warning, danger. Nothing to see here, guys. Let me distract you with this. So you're not seeing what's really going on over here. Which, as we've seen, grows as this year went on, more and more fake news, more and more. We need to censor. We need people to tell us this is fake. Really? I don't need anybody to tell me something's fake. I'll research it myself. Thank you very much. And 9 times out of 10, I hear it. I know it for what it is already. You know, just like I don't need algorithms or 10,000 extra people to monitor my content. Tell me this is fake, this is appropriate, this is inappropriate. I even touched on that a little bit. Symbology and symbolism. Not as much as I want to get into, but most of you guys aren't ready for that anyway. But I mean, you've been trained to do it already, you know? Hit the like button, hit the dislike button. It's a trigger object. It causes a trigger. To some, it goes one step farther. Oh, you triggered me, so therefore I'm going to report you. To me, if I actually said something that triggered you, well, I think I did my job. So, to me, seeing that dislike button, shit, I did my job. That's like getting a thumbs up. But yet we see people get so bent out of shape over it, instead of looking at it for what it really is. Well, yeah, there's some bot play there too, but hey, look at it for the good aspect. You triggered somebody. You made somebody question. Be proud of that thumbs down. But that was, people got used to being able to make money on YouTube, gain viewers, get their stuff to trend more. More likes, the more trends it'll get, trending it'll get. Everybody got caught in that system. Never questioned things, never really read the TOS or understood what third-party apps are. Never realized that they gave away their consent. You committed a verbal contract. They would get all bent out of shape when they got a community strike. Well, you're trying to monetize your stuff. I mean, even I had to sit back and look at it. Some of the stuff I say, is that advertiser friendly to some of these major advertisers? Hell no. In fact, it goes completely against what that advertiser promotes. So therefore, I'd have to censor myself. I don't want that. There's so many tools out there, to where you can do things. You gave up a part of your free speech and what you could say, the content you could do, when you agreed to monetize your channels. All in the fine print of the TOS. And the further you research and understand what third party means. I actually understood what third party means before anything on the internet, because I got a statement from my bank breaking down third parties and how it works. And you know what I did? I no longer do business with that bank. Or any bank anymore. Like I've talked here lately, I've talked about technology. It's a great thing when it's in the right hands. That goes back to the bad apple thing. But there's a gimmick to everything. Look what you're giving up. Oh, all your stuff can now be delivered in your house. They'll deliver it right inside your door. You just got to change your locks. We're going to put a camera in, pointing at the door. They'll scan their iPhone, new iPhone 10, and it'll unlock the door. And they'll be filmed, don't worry, so they won't be able to steal anything. Sounds good, right? What did you just give up doing that? Well, you gave up your privacy in your home, which most of us gave up that the day we activated our cell phone, the day we plugged in our smart TV. Those that have them. So you already gave up that stuff. Like I said, a lot of it is corporations. Corporations are not bound by the Constitution because they are not a U.S. citizen, considered a U.S. citizen. Yes, they have U.S. citizens working for them, but it's plural. So therefore, it is not an individual, so therefore the Constitution doesn't apply. As one of the Supreme Court's justices clearly pointed out, on a case that really had nothing to do with that. Except for if you go back and read the four other justices, they pointed out the very same thing, that this is going to reflect all these things. And sure enough, they have. That's what another thing about the illusion of laws, the dangers of laws. Once it's on the books, once there's interpretations to it, it's left up to interpretation. You pretty much know, you don't need a fancy lawyer, ever. Why? If you're a good salesman, all you've got to do is find the right cases where it's been already won in court, and sell that interpretation to the jury or judge and get them to believe your interpretation of it. There you go. That's law for you. That's how it works. You know, we've seen so much this year. You know, we've seen, like I said, all the sex scandals that's come out. And we've seen some of the dangers to that. We've seen how it can be used to influence elections now. And that's something we're going to have to keep an eye on and watch out for. Same way with how they use doxing people. There's not much difference there. You know what? And the worst part is there's a lot of difference there, in a sense. You know who it hurts? It hurts the real victims. The real people that's had those things happen to them. You know, we're living that day of age now where it's okay to accuse somebody of something without proof. Just because you don't agree with what they say, or you don't like a statement they made. That's not okay. You guys forget, it's good to disagree. It's important to disagree. Why? It makes you question. It makes you debate. It makes you come up with a solution or find the real truth to a problem. They don't want you questioning. You know? Then it gets picked up, spun left and right, depends on what label's agenda is, how they can benefit them by spinning it a certain way to match their agenda. That's wrong. I hope more people start waking up to that. Because it's dangerous. It goes back to fear porn. It's instilling fear in people. It's controlling people through fear. It's also manipulating the system. You know? And it's further causing a divide. To me, that's what this year has shown. I've seen things heal, though. I've seen people actually put their differences aside and really come together and talk about things that, you know, these two people would never talk about. I've seen some good things. That's important because those are the things I hope to see carry over the next year. You know, the ironic thing is we don't want to forget the things we've seen this year. because we don't want to see these things repeat themselves. That's, the irony of removing monuments, destroying our history, removing stuff from our history books. Oh, it puts a blemish on what America is. No, there's a reason why it was history. We learn from that so we don't repeat it. I was thinking to myself the other day, we've got all these, we all know, the United States is a multicultural, rich country. But nobody, if somebody would say, well, why can't we have a white appreciation day or a white history day? Oh no, that's racist. No, it's not. Because every other culture can have a day, why can't we? It goes back to what I said. Truth, you want the truth, you can't handle the truth. And most people can't. Because it goes against the norm, it goes against, well, you have freedom of speech, you have freedom of religion until your ideas and your belief opposes mine, then you don't have it. So when they're pushing the racial narrative, this group person's culture, race, can't have a day because it's marred by a few bad apples. But you can't find that in the history books anymore. Well, there was things called indentured servants. A lot of people that came over from Europe. A lot of white people were indentured slaves because they couldn't afford the passage. So rich plantation owners paid for their passage and work. White people in slavery. Yes, there's a fine line there because they actually could work their dead off. But the fact was, they were still a slave. The fact is, the further you go back in history, it doesn't matter what color your skin was. There was a slave market for everyone. And if you want to go really into history, it wasn't the white man that sold the black man into slavery. It was the black man selling the black man into slavery in Africa. That's a historical fact. So don't blame my skin color for your problems. Know your history. But there was plenty of white people that bought slaves. But they also bought white slaves. And as we progressed in our history, we fixed those wrongs where everybody was treated equal, the civil rights movement. That's the important thing. Why are we trying to repeat history? Racism should not exist in this day and age. Everybody should have equal rights. Everybody should be treated equal. Quit buying into that stupid race card that should not exist. If it exists, because you're allowing somebody to control you. And therefore you are a slave. A new kind. Because, like I said, step outside the box. Go explore, go adventure. Go different places. Get away from the big cities or sanctuary cities. You'll see a whole different side of things. Go down to the South where you think it's so racist. It's not. They learned from their history. They're not repeating their history. Problem is, people don't get out. That's not your fault, because most of you can't afford to. And that's everybody can't afford to, because you have to work. The cost of things are so expensive. You can't afford to go out and actually see what the country's really like. Instead, you got to hear it from these bad apples. They're telling you it's this way. Or from so-called professionals, as we've seen the downfall of the NFL. The one person that started it, Where was he on the 4th of July? Oh, that's right. Overseas, bad-mouthing America on the 4th of July. Person that never went out of his rich home, left his rich car to actually make a difference, unlike some people in the NFL. Terrell Suggs is a perfect example of a person that gets out any chance he gets a chance to talk about the things that are going on in the communities, does. J.J. Watt, perfect example of giving back to the community when it's in time of need, using his celebrity status as a role model, a real role model, just like Terrell Suggs is a real role model for the NFL. And we've seen the price the NFL paid. We've been seeing it every week since then. Stadiums half empty. Viewerships at all-time low. You know, I'd had more respect for a lot of them if they were out doing and participating in the communities, bringing awareness, being the role models that they're supposed to be, instead of getting in their fancy sports car and going to their fancy mansion and never going to out in the community and giving back or standing up for the cause. Like I said, there's plenty of bad apples in this world, plenty of them. And those are good causes to get behind in the community. Use that celebrity status, that role model that you're supposed to be, to make difference, to bring change. But I don't respect a person that doesn't do that. That's why you named the two. There's plenty of them. There's actually more than that actually are role models in the community that do give out. I mean, LeBron James, I can't stand him, but I've seen what he's done here in Ohio. Seen what he's done, tried to give back to his communities, helping the schools out, addressing real issues. So when he does something that I don't agree with, I respect him. I might not agree with it, but I got respect for that. Because I see him doing what he knows he can only do and bring awareness to because he's got that celebrity status. Hollywood's a joke. Man, we're seeing the NFL has turned into a joke. There's some things you just can't disrespect. There's some things where if you're going to take a stand to bring attention to awareness, lead by example. Be out in the community doing those things before you put yourself in that position where everybody's going to look, well, you don't do anything for the community. You killed the cause right there. And you hurt the very ones that have been doing this without taking a knee. The ones that have been speaking up. You know, just like a lot of people on here, I use Be Rich for an example. He used his channel. He used what little fame he has on YouTube and other social media networks to get donations to go help out in Houston. Not once, but twice. Took time out of his life, took vacation time where he should have been spent with his family to give back. He used his audience to generate some money to be able to do things. That's the beauty of this platform when it's being used right. Where people are being role models. You know, I might not always agree with some of the stuff he talks about or does, but I learn a lot from that man. I've learned a lot from a lot of you streamers out there. You know, I've met new people in the last couple months. New viewpoints, maybe question things. Me, the people perspectives, maybe question a few things that I overlooked or didn't quite see. And that's a good thing. I mean, for those aren't haven't seen her channel, check it out. She's got an awesome perspective on things. She makes you question. She makes you realize, hey, there's more to the story. RufaCast, too, channel. Same thing. You know, there's topics I don't agree with. They're talking about. But you know what I love? The fact that the chat and what they're saying, they're interactive. They're not sitting there saying, you're wrong. They're making you question, think outside the box, giving you new ideas, new ways to look at things. I respect that. That's some of the more things I'm going to be, more people like that I'm going to follow from here on out as subscribers and share with you guys. And the ones that are doing the fear porn thing, he don't got no place right now here. Because it's, you know, it goes back to what I said. Not everything's a conspiracy. Not everything's a false flag. Excuse me. There's a danger there. Now all that stuff started breaking down, false flags. Keep talking about it's where you start, everything that happens is a false flag. Shit happens. You know? That's life. You know, real stuff does happen. Bad things do happen. Not everything's going to be a false flag. There's some things, yeah, when you start looking into it, yeah, you see it for what it really is. And that's kind of been the danger of the false flag, fake news stuff. It's turned everything into that narrative, which in a good sense is a good thing. It's making people question. It also kind of divided the community even more, which was the bad side effect of it. It was meant to do that. You know, I'm starting to see some of these bad things that they wanted is backfiring. It's coming back to bite them. Because people are questioning. They're not taking everything at face value, which is a good thing. 2017 has showed us not to take anything at face value. But it's also showed us not everything's a conspiracy, not everything's a false flag, not everything's fake news. As we've seen this year kind of wrap up, we started seeing more of the tech side come in. Talk about 3G, D-Ware, the leaps and bounds of artificial intelligence. I mean, we got a walking robot, cyborg, whatever you want to call it, that's become a citizen. That gives speeches to the UN. Technology is advancing. We've seen a push for driverless cars. But everybody never, there's part of history most people don't know. There was a reason for junkers for cash, clunkers for cash, pushed by Obama's administration to get all the old cars off the market. Because in 2007, and you can go back earlier in 2000, but as of 2007, every car comes off the lot. And this is here's one for you. Why do we still see high-speed car chases? You're probably thinking, what are you talking about? As of 2007, every car on the market that's ever put out has 2 kill switches in them that you can shut the car off. That was put in the law. And a lot of the 2000, I'd say about 2001 and up, most of those cars have it as well. We shouldn't be seeing high-speed chases. No one's questioned that. You know, just like I know some states have passed laws. The law's already on the books to where only driverless cars will be allowed inside the cities. Combustion engines will no longer be allowed in the cities. You will no longer be allowed to drive in the cities. Just for that. Been passed. Flip through while we were all caught up in whatever was trending or whatever event that was going on that they wanted to be focused on. I know here in the state of Ohio they passed that law. It is on the books. It is law. It's just not being enforced. Which makes you sit there and want to question the agenda behind all that. Why put kill switches in vehicles? Well, for when the time comes where the only thing you can take for transportation is self-driverless cars, self-driverless trains, airplanes, drones, whatever they want to give to us, and they'll just hit the kill switch. So no vehicle can be turned on. Now, then if you get caught driving one, they'll lock you up because you tampered with the vehicle. Because you can have those kill switches turned off. I know mechanics that do that bypass the kill switches. That's actually how I know they exist. See, nobody questions things. Nobody questions why all of a sudden they're pushing these ads where you can order stuff, have it delivered. You can have the packages delivered. And you don't even have to be home. They'll put it inside your house. What are you giving up for all that? Why don't they want you going to pick it up yourself? Social engineering, social programming. Programming people to get used to it. So when they want to turn all these laws into effect and say, oh, they're already in the books, we're just going to enforce them now. You're already used to doing these things. Why don't they want you going to stores, to the theaters? I talked about that one myself. Well, for $35, I can enjoy a blockbuster movie right here from my house and not go to the theater. And I get the DVD, the 4K Ultra, the high def, and the download version of it. For $35, that's a good deal, guys. I don't have to go stand in line in a theater, be around a bunch of noisy people. I get it. Wait, I don't get it. I want to be at that theater. I want to be able to socialize with people. Hear other people's views and opinions, what they're thinking and talking about. Why don't you want me doing that? Why don't you want me going to Walmart to pick up my groceries or pick up the things I need? Why do I have to have an iPhone 10? Oh, that's because you're throttling my service. You're draining my battery, slowing my phone down, so I have to buy the new one. Oh, I get it. No, I don't get it because I never own an iPhone 10 or an iPhone 8 or whatever. My cheap $75 Premier Android works just fine. Oh, and I don't have to have a contract for it either. Even better. So when I don't have the money and can't afford to pay a bill, I just don't have to put time on it. I don't have to buy a service plan for it. Card. You know, like I said, they've been pushing a lot of tech lately. Just got into it a little bit. You know, just like I seen we all heard about the Twitter purge. Yeah, I've seen a few people get banned and removed, but you know what? It was no purge. I think all the ones I was following, 2 people. Not bad. You know, some things are distractions. Some things are blown out of proportion. Some things we can avoid, you know, by talking about it. Look at all the things we learned when I did the United We Stand videos. The things we caught. Which, speaking of which, something I forgot to do because it's not habit yet. Uncheck mark the thing in the advanced settings so anybody can post links to my thing. Because if not, it can be held for review or treated as spam. And we've seen even doing that doesn't matter. Nobody, but we wouldn't have known some of those things. That's why sometimes I just do some things to see the results. Because you do. You have to pay attention. You got to know what you can say, can't say. You know. And to me, I just make a game out of, okay, can't use this word. Oh, let me pull up the old thesaurus and see what other words mimic that word. That mean the same thing. Simple. Not that I need a thesaurus to do that. You know. Or just not using meta tags. Like I said, too many people got in this megalomaniac complex that they have to have all these followers. Well, I kind of enjoy the 17 I got, and thank you. Because I get to interact with you guys. I get to chat with you guys. To me, this is the function that I enjoy. You know, when you start to get more people, 50, the chat starts moving faster, so you got to slow your chat down. So you're behind when you answer questions. I like to be able to interact. That's the beauty of this platform. For me, it's about quality, not quantity. Because I learn just as much from you guys interacting as you learn from me. And that's the beauty of it. That's why I kind of enjoy going on other channels, chatting in the chat rooms with people, learning new things. Yes, I also like observing and watching and not interacting. And that's usually only at first. You know, people say, well, why don't you comment on my videos? Or I'm only going to comment when I feel drawn to comment. I feel a need to comment. You know, if I like your video, I hit the like button. If I didn't like the video, well, apparently I didn't share it. I'm not going to hit the dislike button. I just didn't like the video. See, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of me hitting the dislike button. Because it's pointless. Did your video trigger me? No, you just said something I didn't agree with. But something I took note of and will do a little research. You made me think, so yeah. Maybe I should have gave you a like. Because you made me think. Or it's just something that I already know to be not the case and I just wasted my time watching your video. Which really is very few and far between. I pretty much will know when I see a title if I'm going to watch it or not. Sometimes I find a rare gem out of this from people that I don't normally listen to. It's like, hey, that was good. And your next video you put out, it's like, oh man, no. But I like that one. So I'm going to subscribe to you and follow you because, hey, you put out a rare gem from time to time. Why? Because we're human. We're not going to always agree on things. We're not always going to have the same views and opinions and philosophies. That's what makes each and every one of us unique. Yeah. You can spot the bad apples for what they are. Don't need me telling you who they are. That's what it goes about. Listen to yourself. Listen to that little inner voice inside you. Listen to how you feel when you watch a video. How does it make you react? Know thyself. Learn. Listen to yourself. Don't listen to me. Just think about what it means to you. What are you taking from it? Some of you might say, I'm just full of shit. Hey, guess what? I might be. But then again, you haven't walked a mile in my shoes either. Maybe sometimes I might come on here and be that. You know? I might just be that fool and jester. Which I don't do. Because what's the point? You know, for me, I stand by what I say this channel's about. That's something when I go looking to 2018. I want to keep this channel going the way it's going right now. Add a few things. Maybe get rid of a couple things. But I like how it's going. I like the more free-flowing, less subject matter. I'm still going to do subject-based stuff because that's who I am. And a part of me. But I like this more free-flowing, the more talking about just things that make you think and question. I'm enjoying that. Yes, I'm going to be doing some other things as well on this channel. Some more outdoor stuff. For me, 2018, you know, as I'm reflecting on it, thinking about it, I already got my goals set. I did that back in October. I know what I want to do. And I know what I'm going to do for this channel and the other channel I work on. As far as what I see coming, you know, I'm actually dreading the start of 2018. The Olympics is in February. Yeah, I'm correcting myself because for some reason I thought it was in March. I don't know why. I didn't say that in this video. This is a previous video that I done. I corrected it in the links below. It's that video. You know, I mean, just where it's at. The things we've been seeing going on. The saber rattling back and forth. What has happened this come out this week about China and Russia giving oil. Now, how much truth to that is, I don't know. You know, world stage. Like I said, everything's a grand chess game out there. You know, just like Me the People's Perspective did an awesome video. It made me think about it because she pointed out something. It was just, right after a video I had done, I didn't even think about Israel's ties to all these things. You know, the fact that an arms dealer that was an Israeli that was selling to North Korea got caught in Australia or Austria. She brought up some good points that I didn't think about, or I tend to leave the Israeli thing alone. Just because, you know, I live in the U.S. This is my country. I don't care what the world's politics is. In fact, I wish we'd keep our nose out of most of the world affairs when it comes to that. It'd make our country really great if we did. Because we've always had our nose in other people's business. You know, just like I'd love to see us pull out of the UN, but the reality of it is we never will. Because we're always used as the police force. We're always the scapegoat. We are the ones that look bad. And the UN uses that. You know? That's why I said it's good to listen to other people. She made me think. She made me question something. She made me question a video that I had just done live. And some of the things I said, it's like, she made some good points. Points that kind of put a few pieces of the puzzle together, which is awesome. Because those little things that we miss, that we think we might know, turn out to be the very things when somebody poses the question and we actually start questioning it, realize like, oh, how did I miss that? That was so in my face. I think we're going to see a lot of that happen as well from 2018. But yeah, I am worried because of the Olympics in South Korea. I mean, bad time. And we're dealing with puppet, so to speak, over there because somebody's pulling the strings. I mean, you can't be that stupid. You can't be that naive. And he's borderline, what he's doing is borderline suicidal. I mean, if he does anything during the Olympic period, launches a missile, it's all bad. And there's been tidbits here and there. So I'm not looking forward to the Olympics. I love the Olympics. I love the fact that's where nations put their differences aside, come together and compete in games. You know, I understand the history of Olympics, what it used to stand for, what it used to mean. It used to mean cease of all wars during that time. I mean, we've gotten away from that a long time ago, but it's what it used to mean. You know, and some wars were ended because of the game. You know, study the history of the Olympics. You know, too many people get into the other aspects of it. Well, it's 5 rings. Screw all that. History. Every culture is different. Every culture has their own history, belief systems. See, we're taught that because that belief system is different from yours, it's wrong. No, it's not. I like to look at it as there's truth in all things. The way the things that are meant to control you are meant to control you through fear and other aspects, propaganda that's in there, and you start finding a lot of similarities. You start seeing how the system works. I mean, if you start studying how these empires fell, how these great nations fell, you can see it was through corruption, it was through a system that, as humans, we seem to have. And we do. Even our smaller communities, we have people that we put in positions of authority or positions that we follow, more inclined to follow. I can point it out in every aspect of any culture, community, system. There's what they used to call caste system. There's a form of caste system where it's like a hierarchy. These people set the laws. These people govern. These people are your religious figures. It's a hierarchy. And we the people are the commoners, so to speak, the peasants. We have that here in the United States. I've done videos on that. Now we call ourselves a republic, a democracy. Oh, I actually remember somebody else that called themselves a republic. Yeah, it was a great empire. And no longer exists. The very same things we're seeing happening today. History repeating itself. Why do they want to remove history? So you don't see what previously happened, so they can keep doing it. The illusion. But no, I don't think 2018 is going to start off too well. And I'm not predicting anything because I'm hoping that I'm actually wrong on this one. But things are leading to that. That's kind of like, we have the term here, the shot heard around the world, the British coming. Yeah, the North Koreans are coming. And why? Because some idiot's probably going to do something stupid during the Olympics that's going to trigger a reaction. I'm kind of hoping it doesn't happen, but it's the perfect primer. It's the perfect catalyst. The stage is set. But I also think 2018, if we can get past that with no incident, might be a good year. I'd like to see more positive things come out of 2018. More change. Less division. And it's all going to depend how they keep pitting people against each other. Can people let go of those labels? Can people see what's really going on? What I do hope for 2018, that we don't see what we've seen this year with the protests and all that violence. It caused too much drama. It caused too much division. I don't want to see that repeated for 2018. I don't think any of you want to see it. What I'd like to also see for 2018, I'd like to see our little swamp of vipers cleaned up. The realist in me, probably not going to happen. And if it does, it'll be just a few scapegoats. We still need to mend our wounds before we can even see that happen. We still got to be able to learn to put our differences aside. Sadly, that's going to probably take a major event. Which we have to watch out for, because things are still primed for that. In 2018 is going to be, people are going to be looking back, seeing, what the hell, how'd everything go so wrong? It's pretty much on one side there, but how can we repair the rifts? We also have elections coming up in 2018 for our House and Senate. More Senate than House. And that's going to be something to watch for. We already got a taste of what happened in Alabama. Let's pay attention to use that as a reference as we watch these Senate seats be up for re-election. I'd like to see new faces, people that represent us. I'd like to see people wake up in 2018 and not vote these career politicians back in, not vote these vipers back in. I think the first part of 2018 is going to be a little shaky. I've been watching the economy a little bit. I'm not big into it because what goes up has to come down. That's just nature. That's the nature of things, you know. But I'd like to see more growth. I'd like to see more factories being built. Because in a sense, we could also look at the cryptocurrency factor, how it's gaining momentum, growing. That could be a catalyst. That could be the thing that triggers a economic collapse. I have my own theories on that and reservations that I've brushed on. I know a little bit of history. Where was that emblem first seen? You know, makes you question a little bit about it. And when I say emblem, I'm referring to the Bitcoin emblem. You can actually find it in our history. Actually, you can find that image first used, I believe, in the 60s. Which is an interesting note. You know, as far as, I hear a lot of people that I'm getting into the Q thing, the Q clearance, Q clearance patriots, Q anonymous, or whatever they seems to go by. I've talked to some people about it who say it's incredible, but I look at the post, I look at the stuff, no, it's code in a sense. So I don't have a decipher key. Pretty sure you guys don't have the decipher key. So it's up for interpretation. It goes back to things. People are going to see something, and they're going to relate. I can give a perfect example how this works. Nostradamus predicted a bunch of stuff, and a bunch of stuff came about. It actually did happen. He used that. People used that, seen that. Okay, this happened. Oh, this happened. It kind of matches some of the coordinates that he wrote. It has semblance, so therefore it came about. Then 10 years from now, something else that's similar to the very same thing happens. Oh no, this was it. See how that goes? You can interpret it so much into something like that. Any event that has a similarity to match a thing that is written has a chance to be said, oh yeah, this relates to that. So when it comes to that, I give it a grain of salt. Because it's up for interpretation. Everybody's going to interpret it different. See something there that's probably not even there. Now, there's some people out there that probably have the cipher to make out what he's saying. That's who it's meant for. And who knows, maybe some of these people that are talking about it might have it. I don't know. That's why I haven't really got into that much. He pointed out some things that I found interesting, but it's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole that I'm not going down. Because there's just so much left for interpretation. So much that could be, oh, this tweet was made. It's got to be referencing this. This is what it's about. And I'm not knocking these people that are talking about it. It is a fun and interesting subject. But I can't put no concrete proof to it's even real. I can take it with a grain of salt. It's interesting. Hope that clears that up why I haven't been talking about it to some people. A couple people have asked. Just until something happens that can be concrete proven. Because I can sit there from what people have said they think they deciphered. I can sit there and point out other things. Until you can't point out other things, you can't really give it too much credibility. It's meant for whoever's got the cipher. And guess what? I don't. And I'm pretty sure most of the people I've listened to talk about it don't. But it does bring out, as I've used it, interesting talking points because it goes back to being prepared for things. You know, the what if scenario. What would you do if this happens? You know, it makes you think a little bit. As the one video where I did talk about it, it's like, I don't know. I mean, the person that did the video, he's been credible. I mean, from everything I've watched and the years I've followed him, it was weird to see him report on it. That's what threw me. But things that were brought up, those are things that, hey, bring up a good topic to discuss because the what if. Well, let's think about that. What if all that stuff does happen? Let's say they do go start rounding these people up. Yeah. Look at the world today. Look at our country today. Look at how's it been in 2017? The division, the chaos. You realize when you do that, that would happen. The chaos that would ensue. The people that would want to rise up because, oh, you're being a dictator, or they're innocent. When most of us know, probably most of those people who they talk about deserve well, I'd go as far as say they deserve to be charged with treason. But let's just say they all go round these people up in one big swoop. Well, there was the part he did make sense on. You would have to declare martial law. You'd have to take over the airways. You know, switch everything to the emergency alert system. So you wouldn't get a huge uprising and where you could deploy and control things. Now we're talking martial law. Now we're talking about things we don't want to talk about, things we bitch about from other predecessors. We don't want to see happen because that's the reality of it. Because you would have people that would want to rise up saying, oh, you're trying to be a dictator, you're trying to take over. Until, you know, these people can get their day in court and their lives and stuff be brought out to the public. And you still have people that would not believe it, that would want to do things. That's the danger of that. But the reality of it, these are things we should talk about and be aware of. Because how do you prepare? How does your community prepare for something like this? What are you going to do to make sure if something like that, you're not caught out in the open or unprepared? You know, I like using aspects like that because it is a what if. Like I said, none of us have a cipher to truly know what dude's talking about. What's actually, oh, does it really mean that? Does it mean because this person tweeted this, it's referencing that, and that's just another stepping stone to, you see what I'm saying? But by talking about these things, there's another reason why sometimes talking about these things is important. Because when you bring stuff like this to the light, make people aware, sometimes it has an effect to where it diffuses a situation, which is important. Sometimes talking about these things sheds light to the fact that, hey, you know, there's a double standard there, you know, but there's a reality of that. Hey, something like that. These are the possibilities that could need to be enforced. What are you going to do? How are you going to react? You know, that's the danger of division, what they tried to pull, with social engineering, to divide all of us. Because it kind of forces your hand when you start planning these things out to take action like that. Now you realize, well, shit. Everybody's so divided, it's going to cause pandemonium. It's going to cause people to uprise. It's going to chaos. Even though we're trying to do, and what in our eyes is bring justice. it's going to bring about so much more. I mean, that's, some people say, oh, now you're just contradicting. No, I'm being a realist there. There's two sides to a coin for everything. And the reality of it is, no matter how you go about it, it's going to cause drama. Because we're still in a powder keg. I mean, I'd like to think that powder keg's lost some of its powder. But it's still got powder. That's why, in a sense, I think Charlottesville is a tragedy. But it was also a blessing because it kind of ebbed the flow. People seeing it, okay, enough. I don't want to be have any parts of it. It just got out of hand. It caused a reaction on all sides. In a sense, you can look at that as a good thing and a bad thing. Bad thing because some people wanted their voices heard. It killed some real people's voices. But at the same time, it put an end to a lot of the violence. People started seeing the violence for what it's worth on both sides. You had your provocateurs on both sides. And I hope we don't see any more of that in 2018. I mean, as this year went around, a lot of it died down. I mean, it lost its momentum. They realized, hey, out of all places, I mean, as bad as I talk about sanctuary cities, New York got something right when they labeled Antifa as a terrorist organization. I mean, it was only for that state, but they got it right because that's what they were acting like. They were committing violence on people. They were abusing power. Now, I've heard people talk about this New Year's. I don't know why they're talking about this. It's not a new concept. Everybody remember last New Year's? For 2017? Everybody watched the ball drop in New York? Everybody remember the heightened security? Sectioned it off so not everybody was no longer crowded together. You had to stay in your little box there, and they broke it up. And they had snipers on the roof. And I hear people talking about it this week, talking about it like it's a new thing. It's not a new thing. We've been doing that. I can take you back to when London had their Olympics. I remember all these people talking about, man, we got missile launchers on top of our buildings. We got Navy battleships going up and down the canal. We've been living in that state for our events for a very long time. So when people come up talking about it, what is it? Comes fear porn. It's not right. We shouldn't be living like that. We shouldn't have to be put in a little fenced-in area. Once you're in here, you can't get out. If you leave, you can't come back. We shouldn't have to worry about having dump trucks filled with sand lining the boulevards. It's not meant, that's holiday stuff. It's not meant to be like that. It's meant to be festive. I mean, bad things are going to happen, but we took security to a whole new level. But unfortunately, the reality of it, it's actually merited because of things we've seen. We don't want to see that here. And thankfully, we really haven't seen those things happen here in the United States. We've seen a little bit, but nothing compared to what's happened over in Europe and those countries. I hate seeing, our holiday parades, going to watch the New Year's ball drop wherever you're going to go, seeing that amount of security. Because when you see that, it's like, man, we're living in fear. We're there having a good time. You see it, and the psychological effect is we are living in fear. We can't celebrate like we used to. And that should not be the norm nowhere. You know, it kind of pissed me off when I heard a couple of people talk about it this week. Like, this is a new thing. It's not new. We've been watching this unfold every New Year's, every holiday season for a while. I mean, last year, they showed it. Snipers on the roof. Nothing new. I didn't get it why certain people wanted to jump on it this year and make it like it's a big thing, new thing. You know what? Something I've learned as I gotten older, I've been to New Year's Eve balls and drops before. I got to experience it. Cool. I also learned, man, I'd much rather spend it just with a few friends and close friends, not go out. Because what? It's a lot of responsibility when you go out. You know, you got to worry about all the people that are intoxicated. Well, are you intoxicated? Well, me, yeah, I'd be intoxicated that day. Well, I just happened to be drew the unlucky straw to be the designated driver for that year. But then, I still got to worry about everybody else. It's just best to have a place, small place, local, maybe a local pub, bar, whatever, and not have to deal with the huge crowds. But you learn that as you get older, you know. Once you've experienced it, and that's the sad part is I got to experience that without all that. Younger generations haven't got to experience that, and you know, they get to experience all this heightened security stuff. That's sad. But also, remember, there's other ways to do things. Get together with some friends so you don't have to worry about anybody going out driving. And just have fun. You'll actually learn and realize you have more fun in that type of social environment than you actually have with the crowd of people. There's more meaning to it. That's my thinking. That's been my experience. Everyone's different. Me? Pretty much anymore. I don't even celebrate any of the holidays. You know, me, New Year's. I've already got my New Year's planned and did that back in October. And New Year's is just another day. Oh, I just get to say it's 2018, says 2017. New Year's officially here, which means we're, halfway to warmer weather. That's not what it means, too. We started the new year, spring's on its way, and new season. Days are getting longer. You know, like I said, we got to get past the first couple months of February. Hopefully we can get past the more eventful. Because, like I said, the Olympics is supposed to be a good thing, but man, out of all the locations they had to have it, you know, and people don't realize, here's the other thing. It's been an issue for several Olympics for a while. Pretty much well since the Korea War. The Olympics does not recognize a South and North. Now, there's been a few cases where certain countries have recognized a North and South Korea in the Olympics, but most Olympics do not recognize them as divided. And there was a question flying around, is the North Korean Olympians are going to be allowed to compete in the Olympics? Like I said, that powder keg is burning full. Me personally, maybe this Olympics is a good time to recognize the sovereignty of both nations. Maybe that'll help ease some tension so we can get past it. That's what I would do if I ran the thing. You know what? We're going to recognize you guys are two sovereign countries. You know, give the olive branch out a little for once in hopes that, you know, the suicidal idiot don't do anything stupid. But me personally, 2018, I think we're dealing with that situation. If it doesn't happen during the Olympics, it's going to happen sometime in 2018. I mean, you just got to keep it real. You know, diplomacy only goes so far. But I do think 2018 is going to be a fun year. I think it's going to be more enlightening than this year's been. I think we're going to see a little bit more, hopefully some wounds being mended, with some of this division kind of healed over. That's what I'm looking for 2018. That's what I'm hoping for. And I like to think, you know, we've kind of seen some of that take place as 2017 is coming to an end. You know, I think we're also going to see a big push for more technology as well. I mean, that's just the way this year's ended. They've been pushing it. I think we're going to see a lot more new things come out. A lot more things that we're going to have to question. And, you know, by the end of next year, I'd probably say 5G will be completely rolled out. You know, some people say 2019, 2020. I think they've ramped that up. We're going to see it by the end of 2018. 5G will be going up everywhere. Everything's being pushed for that and drawn for that. You know, some people could look at the voting down of net neutrality as another way to kind of force and push 5G into effect. Another way to force, because I know here in Ohio, a lot of cities have been against it, saying we don't want it here. And there's been a few other states I've did some research on. They're not wanting 5G. I personally don't want 5G either, but I don't get what I want. That's obvious. I didn't even get a lump of coal for Christmas. Good thing I don't celebrate. I must have really been on the naughty list this year. But then again, for a year, that's the way I took in 2017. All the bad stuff we've seen, all the negative stuff we've seen. Honestly, had a great 2017. Learned a lot, met new people. That's, to me, more valuable than material things. You know, more open than I was the previous years. There's a lot of things that I look back on 2017 that I'm going to take forward into 2018 and build upon. That's what bad things happen. There's negative things that happen in our lives. The important part is learning from those experiences and making something good out of a bad thing. Okay, why did this go bad? Oh yeah, I made a bad choice here. So I'm not going to repeat that choice. I'm going to try it again. I'm learning from the experience. I'm more knowledgeable. I've experienced it. I know why it went wrong now. Gotta stay positive. You gotta find positivity. Yes, there's several goals I didn't complete. Why? Well, they were really unattainable. I set goals like that. Why didn't I attain this? Oh yeah, it was a bad goal to begin with. But hey, I learned this and this from it. Hey, now I might be able to do something with it. Always set goals. Always aim higher. And when they fall apart, because we set that bar so high, sometimes you will reach that bar. Most of the times you're not. Learn from it. Take that information. Take that knowledge and that experience and apply it to something else. Maybe redo the goal. One of my goals for next year, well, it's not even for next year, it's actually for 2019. I'm getting ready to, 2019, I'm going to do the app trail. I've always wanted to do it. So that means for 2018, I need to get in a little bit better shape than I am. Which means, doing some biking, mountain biking, walking, building up my legs. So, that's healthy. Easy goal. Well, I'm active anyway, especially this time of year. Cross-country skiing is building up my cardio, building up my, endurance, which I will need when doing the trail, especially when you start getting into the mountains. So, it's a future goal, but there's aspects of it I can attain throughout this year. Then building up funds for it. Getting the stuff that I'll need, so when I'm ready to do it, I'll be able to do it. So I'm setting future goals. I'm also setting goals that I'll need to accomplish this year. There's things that I'm working on getting set up for next year. Stuff that I actually started this year that's going to carry on to next year. And some of those things I'll share with you as I'm working on them and setting some of the stuff up. Because it's important to realize that when we do things, it is nice to share these things and show you, maybe you can learn something, or maybe you can point out something that I might be doing wrong and I don't realize it. That's something else I'm carrying over to next year, the way I've been doing this channel the last few months, the interactions. Like I said, I've had a few ups and downs this year, and I learned from them. I learned from some things that, some things that were just not in I had no control over. But that doesn't mean I didn't sit there and get depressed and wallow about it. No, bad things happen. Some things that, I can be prepared for anything and everything, and something's going to come up that I'm not prepared for because it happens. Can't be prepared for everything. But by being prepared for other things when that situation occurs. Adapt swiftly and quickly. I'm not going to get caught. Man, what the hell do I do? I'm going to be able to react. It becomes instinct, no matter what it is. That's something, setting goals, even if they fail, well, it's a changing, it's an experience that allows you to quickly react. It teaches you that skill. I'm not big on New Year's resolutions. Why? Because most of the New Year's resolutions anybody sets, we don't even get past January and we already broke them. So resolutions, no. Goals are different. Goals are something I want to achieve or like to achieve. I'm going to put effort into them. I'm going to learn from my success or my failures. Like I said, people forget how to take and find positivity out of negatives. It's like I kind of told my brother, another reason why I'm glad we didn't celebrate this year because it wouldn't have been a good one. I told my brother, things came up in his life at the wrong time of the year. It's the worst time of the year to have anything come up like that. But I told him, take the good with the bad. Learn from it. Maybe this is a good thing. There's a lot of bad that's going to come with it, but maybe this is a good thing. Some people just don't get along, aren't meant to be together. Fortunately, you had 3 kids, but hey, maybe you'll feel better now. You both will. Might not seem like it now, but it was a negative environment for a while. I mean, I can see that. Like, probably that. Just set small goals. That's what I told him. Things that easy to achieve. Don't set some that, well, for him, that didn't apply. Just set the small goals and work on them. And for me, like I said, this year, next year, I don't think I'll be going to North Carolina. But that's also one of those things that I really don't have control over. If the situation comes up, I'll be there. But as far as me making plans for trip to North Carolina in 2018, it's not in the books. Which, I've had my vacations for the last 3 or 4 years down there, but I call them vacations. Now in 2019, it's going to be a little bit different story. See, that's the other thing. It's okay to plan ahead for things. Setting goals for future things. Me, getting out of Ohio is top priority for me. Why? It's time to move. It's just not time yet. Time to start over someplace where I love being in the mountains. I've always loved the South. It's time to go south. Those are the plans and stuff that I'm going to be working up towards this year, or 2018 to 2019, getting set up so I can make that move. There's things for this channel that I've got set in mind that I want to do, continue to grow it a little bit. bringing new stuff, changing a few things, just minor things that will bring for better conversation, idle chats, more interaction with you guys. Because, like I said, to me, that's more important than the interaction. That's why I don't advertise my channel. That's why I don't care about how many subscribers or followers I have. It's not about a numbers game. It's about the quality. And I think if more people would remember that, and remember how much valuable it is, because when you're sharing information, talking to other people, listening to their opinions and views, and interacting, you learn from each other. That is more valuable than having 10,000 subscribers. 10,000 people that you can't easily interact with. But hey, maybe with 3G, it'll be more easier to do it that way because it'll run faster but yeah, I've seen how that works. Live chats just start scrolling so fast you can't even keep up with other people's conversations are in the chat. See, sometimes less is good. And that's, so many people, that's another false illusion, or another illusion, false reality we come into. We think that we got to have everything new. We forget how valuable some of the old stuff is. We get so reliant on speed, faster internet, faster iPhones, that, well, I had less ringing in the ear when I didn't own one. In fact, I didn't have no ringing in the ear when I didn't own one. Now that I own one, and if it's kept up here near me when I go to bed, I get ringing in the ear. But if I take it downstairs, away from my room, I don't have ringing in the ear. That should tell me something. Like I pointed out with the little flu vaccination shot and all these nurses, which I noticed that story died out. Our local news was even reporting on it. It quit reporting on it. How all these nurses were refusing to get the flu shot. That should tell you something. If they're refusing it, and they went to school for that, they've been trained for that, hey, shouldn't we be questioning that? Like I said, 2018, I hope to see more people questioning more things. Like I said, take the good for the bad. Fake news, us being labeled, censored. There were some good things that came out of it. It made more people see it, aware, and start questioning things. Yes, it's shitty we lost a lot of good channels, a lot of good streamers, and people that were putting out some great content who just got tired of it and left and didn't come back. Reality check. Many of them went to other platforms. Well, we'll see what happened to VidMe. Oh, Gab. Gab's great. It's another tool. But it's no different than Twitter. It has a terms of service that has this and that. And eventually, they're going to enforce some stuff. Right now, it's a free-for-all. Anybody. What's pissed me off about Gab in the last 2 weeks? Oh, yeah. You always used to complain about the cam whores that would somehow get your email address. Oh, yep. Every once in a blue moon, you get one on Twitter. Now it's like every day on Gabs. And guess what? Hey, they got cleaned up. So, guess that violates a terms of service. Guess they don't, that type of networking or that type of free speech, Not that, some of us would call that free speech, but that's what you're endorsing your platform. See? Two sides to the coin. Nothing. When it goes against people's ideologies and beliefs or what they feel is right or wrong, so nothing is a free speech platform. Eventually it's going to be, well, we don't want that content here. That violates our terms of service. And personally, my personal opinion on that, I kind of agree with that. There's adult sites for that. Post that stuff on adult sites. But I can say the same thing, go over to Twitter and say, well, I know porn stars that's got Twitter accounts that post that stuff. It doesn't matter. If you look for it, you can find it. It's everywhere. So people make a big deal out of it when it goes against their belief or ideology. And I'd probably think of it a little bit different if I had kids. Because, no, they don't need to be seeing that. They don't need to go onto what should be, what I consider like Facebook, family safe. It's not family safe, by the way, guys. There's all kinds of adult groups and pages. That's the reality of the internet. You can't make it perfectly safe. It just depends on the terms of service. It depends on what agenda base is running that platform. And that platform's still answerable to a federal and a government policies and state policies and other countries' policies. As for those that go down and understand, been in the tech field a little bit, or built websites, you come to realize those things. There's no such thing as real freedom. But there's ways to use the platforms. Not a fan of Patreon, because why? This year we've seen what Patreon did to people. They banned people for no reason. They didn't have to give a reason. It's in their TOS. Because what people were talking about was going against the status quo, and oh no, we don't want that here. But yet we've seen people migrate thinking it's a free speech platform. Where some of these people that migrated over, some of the people that got banned was for the very same thing that they're trying to go do over there. And eventually they will find out. That's why I look at it this way. All these platforms, they're tools. So it's good to jump around here and there, experience, explore them, but they're all tools. Every platform has its pros and cons. What am I going to use it for? Am I going to use this for a backup? Just in case something happens here. Well, smart enough to realize YouTube's a good thing. There's so much you can learn on it. Any skill, any trade, you can come on here and learn. Anything you get stuck on, you can pretty much find a video here. It is an awesome platform. Yes, with awesome platforms comes TOSs, restrictions, and things you can and can't do, depending on what agenda is going on at the time. Well, that's not much different from everyday life anyway. Certain times you don't want to get arrested or you don't want to get a speeding ticket. Why? Might happen to be election time for the certain politicians and sheriffs being reelected. Brownie point month. For those that know what that term means, where they need money, so it's ticket time. Well, you know these things. You live in that community. You know when they do it, so yeah, let's stay under the speed limit just a notch. Not have a lead foot today or the rest of this week. Oh, Memorial Day's coming up. Oh yeah, they're going to be out in force. No sense being in a hurry to get anywhere. Just take my time, enjoy the scenery. We know these things. Sometimes we don't transfer them over to the internet. We don't realize that. You know, sometimes we share too much information on here and don't realize the dangers of that, or have forgotten those dangers. Some people are in the conception, oh, they deleted my channel, they deleted all my videos. For that, I suggest you go read the terms of service and community guidelines very clearly. It's not always deleted. In fact, you know, let's go back to the old thing. What gets put on the internet stays on the internet. There's no deleting it once it's up. Yes, they keep it. They keep it archived. Why? In case some legal actions and it needs to be reviewed. They don't get rid of it. People, you know, we get so accustomed to things we forget. You know, sometimes we forget. You want to get in that fast lane, just go fast. And sometimes we need to slow down a bit. That's some of the things I'm also going to do in 2018, slow down a bit. Not in a rush to get anywhere right now. Stuff I take in, as I've been doing, just because it's breaking or it's something that's trending, I'm not going to jump on it. I'm not, you know, I'm going to listen to myself. I'm not going to get caught up in, oh, but you could have got all these. No, I don't care. I want to make sure I got it right. I want to investigate it. I want to see what others are going to say about it first. I want to do research into it. That lesson I learned. Why? Because I jumped on something that I shouldn't have jumped on once, and I realized the mistake I made. I won't do that again. I'm not repeating it, just like I'm not going to repeat history. But I am going to make the best of the things I can. And I hope that each of you guys do that. You know, don't get caught up in the negative. Find something positive. And if you can't find something positive, go do something positive. Lead by example. You know, and everything's going to hell. There's nothing positive. Well, go do something positive. Ah, forgot about that one, didn't we? That could be just opening the door for the old lady. Or offering, hey, can I push your cartridge? I don't know. This day and age might get you shot, smacked, shot, screamed at, slapped, but hey. You know, like just falls under the category no good deed goes unpunished. Just saying it happens. But, you know, hey, it's simple stuff. Something for 2018, keep things more simple. That's for me. But I recommend it for you guys because it is less stressful when you start keeping things simpler. Which is hard for me to do because simplicity is not my friend. I live in the realms of complexity. But I've learned the value of simplicity. Just like I learned the value of patience. If you knew me when I was younger, no, me and patience, that word didn't exist. I'm sure that's still the same for a lot of young people. Patience, what's that? It's stuff you learn to value as you grow. Remember that too. You haven't, a lot of you are young, haven't experienced things yet. You haven't lived life. So experience things, live life. Don't be quick to judge until you've experienced that or tried to walk a mile in somebody else's shoes. That is some of the problems we've seen. Everybody's so quick to judge instead of being less judgmental. And not saying accept everything. I'm saying just don't judge a person, label they might adhere to, or whatever belief they might have, you'll start seeing a change when you stop judging people. And you'll start also seeing a change with that. You'll see the people you want to be around and don't want to be around much easier. Because you'll start listening to yourself. Why? Because you're not judging. I mean, a couple of my closest friends was two people that I never thought I'd get along with. Ever. But I'm glad I took the time to get to know them, because first impression I was wrong, which is not very often for me. And that's something I had to learn as I was growing up and getting older and stuff, socializing that. Just because normally I'm right on first impressions doesn't mean I'm always right. And that's something that's carried with me throughout the years. You know, always giving a person a chance. Even though I don't think it's going to work. You know, just like not judging a person's stream because they say this and that. Because sometimes they'll come up on a gem that I would normally miss because I'm judging them because, oh man, they're always doing this and that. And sometimes they get it right. But I'm going to keep this stream under 2 hours, and I'll probably surpass that. Another goal for 2018, trying to keep my streams an hour, hour and a half long or less. It's probably not a goal I'm going to achieve, but I'm going to try. I just don't have no luck doing short videos. But it's, you know, going to try. They'll improve the quality of some of the videos. So they're not 2 hours long, 3 hours long, boring you guys to death. Something I'm going to work on in 2018. But guys, I don't know if I'm going to do a New Year's Eve stream. I might not, depends how I feel. Or how sober I am, I should say. That's the other thing, guys. For people out there that do party, do whatever, don't do live videos when you're doing it. I've never done it, but I've got strict rules when it comes to that. Because I just don't do much partying anymore. It's like, And I've always been a social drinker anyway, so. But, you know, more than likely I probably won't be doing anything anyway, so I might do a live stream. I don't know. It just depends how I feel. But I want to wish you guys all a Happy New Year's. And I do hope that 2018 will be an awesome year for all of us. I think it will be. I think we might have to get through a few hard spots early in the year, but I think it's going to turn out to be a great year. You know, I'm always looking for that. That's the optimist in me. And it's also, you know, I like having hope for better things, better future, because it is possible. You know, I've experienced that myself. And then that's, you know, the day we give up hope on everything is the day that this world will come crashing down. So we've got to have hope. And I do think we're going to see things get better. We might have to go through a storm a little bit, but I do see things getting better. So I will see you guys on the next video. I hope you enjoyed. You guys be safe. You guys are going to go out and have fun and party? Have a designated driver? I mean, I've been blessed this year. I haven't lost anyone. Don't want to hear of anybody that I know of getting hurt over the New Year's Eve. Let's ring in the New Year's on a positive note. Enjoy it. Have fun. And be safe. I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for tuning in.